For those of you who don't know me, I'm Susie, Paul's youngest daughter. I jokingly say I'm the favorite, although I'm pretty sure it's not a joke. I had the honor of calling Paul my dad for 37 years. And those 37 years are overflowing with memories of laughter and love with the best guy in the whole entire world. I'm reminded of my dad every day. I'm the only daughter that he named, the only one that got his brown eyes, the only one that started to go gray before 30, and of course I inherited his wonderful and at times inappropriate humor. Lucky me, I also gained the gift of gabbing with strangers from my dad. I will just be chatting up people at the grocery store, then as we're walking out, Greg will say, "Are those people from work?" And I'm like, "I have no idea who those people are." And he'll just look at me and say, "Okay, Paul, let's get you home." I also followed in my dad's footsteps and started my hospital career at Sacred Heart Hospital. I think my dad's kindness and connection to everyone he came in contact with taught me how to connect with each and every patient I've had. As a registered nurse, I've sat with countless numbers of patients as they've lost their dad. I've comforted them, cried with them, I've even called them to let them know they lost their dad. But I've never felt the pain that they had felt until now. It's like nothing I can describe. When I say I feel the loss of my dad in my bones, it doesn't even come close. But it's in times like these that we try to hold each other up and remember why we are all here today, to celebrate and remember my dad. Beyond following the tradition into the medical field, I also thought having 5 daughters would be a good idea. And boy, was I right. My dad loved my girls beyond measure, and I'm thankful they got to have him as their papa. I see him in each and every one of them every day. It's usually when they're talking back or being sassy, but I'll take whatever I can get to hear him now. Growing up with 5 daughters made my dad beam with pride. Melissa reminds me of my dad. In the same way he poured his love into us, she pours her love into every student that she has touched the life of over the last 19 years. My dad's love shines through in how he traveled overseas and saw Jenny, and he pretended to know French for her, but basically he repeated "Eau du bois" and something that meant "Where's the bathroom?" My dad loved watching Jennifer dance and listen to her play the piano, but he also had to make special rules for her. My favorite was no dancing or singing at the kitchen table, because she would otherwise put on a personal musical during dinner. I see my dad and Becky, because they both always have a place for everything mentality and everything in its place. Becky isn't speaking today because she knows she won't be able to compose herself enough to get through. I don't know what she's talking about. This has been a breeze. So I'll share a couple of my favorite things for her. Becky and Dad shared the love of thrift sales and enjoyed comparing who got better deals. If either of them got an item they loved for 25 cents or less, I was getting a phone call to hear about it. And like him, she puts her whole heart into everything she does. Her job, her family, and most of all her dogs. She loves her dogs as much as Dad loved his. She also took on the task of gathering photos from everyone, choosing songs to go along with them, and putting them together to the beautiful video that's playing. We've all watched it a million times, and we cannot thank her enough for that. My favorite thing is that Becky gave our dad his first grandson 17 years ago, and Dad couldn't have been more proud to call him Braxton Paul. Since Monday, I've never felt closer to my sisters, and I'm so thankful we have each other. Now on to the biggest part of my dad's 73 years, the love of his life, Sonia. For the last 32 years, they loved each other unconditionally. I'll never have the words to say how grateful I am they found each other and built such a beautiful love story. From raising 5 girls, traveling with us, taking us camping up north, our sporting events, and of course embarrassing us through every single boy one of us brought home. Now finally enjoying retired life together, summer at the camper, and what was soon to be the snowbird life together. Dad's way of bragging about the new place they bought in Arizona, was by FaceTiming and showing me all the dog parks and telling me they took the dogs to the dog park 6 times today. I'll miss the phone calls, all the butt dials, and the text messages with 20 different, very unrelated emojis. But I'll always have him. We all will, because to know him was to love him. And just as we have learned to do in this last week, we will continue to see him in every cardinal, every butterfly, every single rose growing through a whole season worth of weeds, and every single sign he sends our way.